Newsline with Faraz, Shauketaly.
And very good evening to you. Warm welcome to Newsline Live. Sorry about the delay in the start. We'll ask the control room why that happened. But this evening, my guest is the Minister of Water Supply, or is he? I don't know. Is he the minister or is he not the minister? Let's find out. Mr. Vasudeva Nanayakkara. Very good evening to you, Mr. Vasu.
Good evening.
Now, are you the minister or are you not the minister?
I am the minister.
But
I have what do I say?
You're protesting.
I have stopped going to the cabinet meetings as a minister. I have stopped going to the ministry as a minister, but I do sign documents if they are essential.
If the minister's signature is needed.
Essential.
And don't you think then, Mr. Vasu, with all due respect, your intense political career and so on, don't you think that that's a waste of the people's resources, because you're not acting as the minister fully, only partially?
Yes, but there is a reason and a purpose and a situation.
What are you protesting precisely about then?
Two things. IMF links to the government already complied with conditionalities of the IMF, and the sacking of the two ministers over a speech they made at the meeting, which I too attended.
Excepting you didn't, you were not critical of the ruling government.
Well,
because you didn't, did you speak?
I was critical of policies and
so what about this business of collective responsibility?
Collective responsibility applies only when conditions for collective responsibility exist.
So, Mr. Vasudeva Nanayakkara, are you saying your protest, for the reasons you've just told us, what do you want to happen? Do you want the president to resign?
No. I want the president to rethink on sacking the two ministers, one. Two, I want the president and the cabinet to rethink on the proposed engagement with the IMF.
Now, you also say that there are some matters that Sri Lanka has complied with.
Already complied. Or in advance.
Yeah. So what's the problem in going to the IMF so that we don't get into a default position?
The problem is that it affects adversely the lower income earners and the lower middle income earners in a deadly way. Because the prices are to reflect the international prices.
Yeah.
Then the rupee is to find its own level in the market. Then the land is now mortgageable.
Yes,
small plots of land given to the people by the government are now mortgageable. And then thereafter, when they become, when the loans don't become settled, the Parate execution will take over those lands and sell them in the land market. So they've opened our lands of the small farmers to the land market. Fourthly, the what rates?
The interest
policy rates
yeah.
have been increased. The interest rates have been increased.
Yeah.
And this affects the small and medium entrepreneurs.
So Mr. Vasu, without the IMF, what is your solution to go forward without the IMF?
Well, we do it ourselves. We do it ourselves. Whichever way.
Mr. Cabral was a great exponent of that.
Yes, he was.
But it cost us over $1 billion.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did. When he was trying to prop up the exchange rate.
Yes, you prop up the exchange rate and then enforce it. What was lacking was enforcement.
So that enforcement aspect also is monitored by the central bank.
Yes, the central bank was complaining that there is no enforcement of the policies and rules imposed on foreign exchange.
But that's complaining about themselves, because he's in charge. But that's like complaining about your own self, because...
No, it is done by the Ministry of Finance. There was a chasm between the Ministry of Finance and the central bank.
So, in that case, either Mr. Cabral must go, or the Minister of Finance must go. What will happen then?
Well, that is for them to decide who should go. But as far as I am concerned, we could have done it ourselves without bringing unbearable hardship on the masses of people.
Right. Now, can I ask you this question? How long have you been in politics?
50 years.
50 years. And you've been in aggregate, you've been a minister for, what, over 10 or 15 years now?
Maybe.
Right. Can I ask you this question then? Can you tell me, from an economic perspective, anything that you've done, any one thing, that has resulted in Sri Lanka getting more foreign exchange over the years?
Yes. We have been using our engineers, our designers, our skills and our own funding in the projects that we have commenced for the water supply.
Okay.
In the past, foreign engineers, foreign companies were doing all the designing and the construction of water projects, which is now taken over entirely by our water supply
professionals,
board.
Okay.
And our own engineers, our men who are skilled in doing the jobs.
How many new jobs have been created by whilst you've been the minister?
We have created about 1,000 jobs.
New jobs?
Yes. But very unfortunately, they are all under manpower. I have no permission from the Treasury to recruit them. Do I have enough space? Do I have enough vacancies? The Treasury does not permit me to recruit. I have been asked to put them all on manpower basis, which is a crime.
Do you disagree with that?
Yes, because there are people who have been serving under manpower for long years.
Yeah. Now then, there are people who are saying, asking, when will you retire? Don't you think that it's high time to pass the baton to the next generation and enjoy retirement, especially in the context of the troubles, the disagreements you're having with the current government?
Disagreements only drive me into a new phase of my fighting political life.
Right.
Which means that we have to find a new formation and new political mobilization in order to form a new government which is left of center.
And on that note, let's go for a short break, take a quick peek at this evening's headlined news from the News First Primetime team. We'll see you on the other side of the break, shall we?
News First, Newsline with Faraz.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Rasvidana Jivite.
Indian External Affairs Minister visits filling stations. Will the Indian military step into Sri Lanka after the Dornier agreement? Will Ranil become the Prime Minister?
අනේ එතුමාට අගමැතිකම දෙන්න තරම් මේ මොකක් හරි මොලේ අමාරුවක් එහෙම අපේ පක්ෂේවත් මන් දන්නේ නැහැ කිසිම කෙනෙකුට තියෙයිද කියලා.
The latest addition to queues. Will the Yala cultivating season be impacted by the fertilizer crisis?
අහිංසකට ජනතාව දවසින් දවස ප්‍රපාතයට වැල්ලා. නිලධාරී සහ පාලකයෝ කයිවාරු විතරයි මේ ගොවියා අනාථ කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
Will Smith slaps Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Wow!
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz, Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I am in conversation with the Minister of Water Supplies, Mr. Vasudeva Nanayakkara. Mr. Nanayakkara, several questions from members of the public, as you know, the sovereign people. They are all asking virtually the same question. Isn't it time, now you are 80 plus now, isn't
83.
83, I do beg your pardon, 83, my goodness me. Right, now then you're 83, isn't it time now that the elderly clan go into retirement and make space, make way for younger people to come and make their mark, and so that you can retire gracefully?
We must make space for the new generation to come. The new generation must be led by the experienced generation, and the revolutionaries don't retire.
Revolutionaries don't retire.
Don't retire.
So you're not a politician.
I'm a revolutionary.
You're a revolutionary. What about
my
Mahinda?
perspective is a revolutionary perspective.
What about Mahinda? Is he Mahinda Rajapaksa? Is he a revolutionary?
No, he's a radical.
Radical, but a politician.
A politician.
Is it time that he retired?
Well, for him to decide.
No, that's for him to decide. But I'm asking your opinion.
Why should I opine on his retirement?
Surely, because of the general nature of the question. The older people must go now.
I don't think so. This is the problem with the usual career politics. We are not in career politics. It's our mission in life.
Right. Now then, people are asking about this IMF. Can you please ask Mr. Vasudeva what is his suggestion to raise funds without going to the IMF?
What funds do you want to raise?
The
additional
loans.
funds.
The loans. The repayment of the loans.
No, we can always restructure our loans by discussing with the bilateral parties.
There's just over 5 billion due this year.
Yes, yes.
We're in the third month of the year. We're nearly in the fourth month.
Our loans. Our loans can be the loans, the creditors. We have to speak to them. We have to get a negotiator.
But you can only do that with the institutional ones. You can't do that with the individual, the large number of other investors. You can do it with the big investors, because you can go and say, look, come on, can we?
What do you mean, big investors? We are
the institutional ones, the
creditors.
funds.
We are debtors.
Yeah.
We have to talk to the creditors and tell them, give us more time, face it out. And that's all we have to do. We can't do it by ourselves. We have to get a negotiator or a go-between who is competent to do so. IMF is not the only source through which you can approach them. What is this?
But you're obviously in the minority in the government on that point.
On that point, we are a minority in the cabinet, may not be even if everybody is consulted.
Now, Mr. Vasudeva, with your...
Not that everybody is consulted.
No, not that everyone's consulted. That might be most of the problem. Now, Mr. Vasu, with your years of experience, that's why I'm posing you this question, how on earth can this country, the fiscal policy and the monetary policy, how can they fuse together when the Minister of Finance doesn't quite see eye to eye with Mr. Ajit Niwad Kabral, who's serving his third term?
Well, there is a problem about that issue. However, that is a matter for them.
Who's them?
Them is Kabral and Basil Rajapaksa, the Minister of Finance.
But the public will suffer eventually.
I know. The question is that they are responsible to the public.
But isn't this, the appointing authority would be, in this instance, the president? So isn't this really, what are you not really saying that this is,
well, the
this is a
should
problem?
Get the two together and have the fusion done.
Yes. Do you think he's likely to do that?
He will have to do it. There is no other way.
But one is his brother, the person who is widely credited with having structured the victory of the SLPP.
The people structured the victory of the SLPP. The people. And initiated by us, including Dinesh.
Yes, I know, but therefore, shouldn't they be actually be grateful and listen to you at the same time?
Well, there is nothing called gratitude in politics.
Right.
In politics, it is strategy and tactics.
So this is, are you saying that you hanging on to your ministerial post?
I'm not hanging on.
Well, you've still got it.
I still got it, but I...
Isn't that all, isn't this, so is this all part of a strategy?
Yes, yes, yes.
And what is that strategy?
Well, we don't disclose strategies.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought because we're all transparent, you might watch just... it's just between us and these people out there.
Why we are doing so is a strategy.
Do you think that...
It will be known well in a week's time.
Okay. It says here, Mr. Nanayakkara, you opposed a military man being elected president. You did an about turn and supported him. Now you don't agree with his policies.
Yes.
Now what?
Now I part ways.
So you are going?
These are the steps being taken towards it.
Painful.
Not to me.
Look, there's so many messages. I can't be saying all this. Look, let me say it. Now you don't agree with this
Tell me everything that everybody tells you.
Don't you think you have failed the nation and her people by your duplicitous conduct? And are you sorry for us, the people?
Duplicitous conduct? No. There is no duplicity.
Right.
We supported a political force. We brought a government into power. We found differences with the government. We have put it on decisive terms, and now we are at the stage of confrontation.
The governor of the central bank has, emphasis has, to be independent of the finance minister.
No, that is not true. This
is a archaic British tradition, is it?
Archaic tradition. These are.
But it works for Britain.
No, wait. Let me tell you. This is by now out of date.
Okay.
The finance ministry and the central bank should work hand in glove, and that is the way that you can serve the people's interests. And that's what we will do if a left-of-centre government is formed.
How possible is a left-of-centre government, especially when the people appear to be so fed up?
People are fed up with the present state, not with the possible left-of-centre government.
The people are protesting silently now, and those numbers are growing. They're going from city to city. The level of frustration is high. And when I was on the street twice now, 3 times running, not that I ran, but you know, the overall picture I'm getting is that people are saying, look, our country has been mismanaged. We need a plan.
Of course, yes. We need a national economic plan.
So why is it not forthcoming?
That is exactly what has not been undertaken by any government after 1970.
And so?
And they have left it to the free market for everything to get determined thereby.
Right.
And that has been our bane.
Now they wanted, the opposition and various people wanted the rupee floated. Done.
Harshana and other UN peers wanted the rupee floated.
But all the prices are going through the roof.
Sorry?
All the prices are going through the roof.
That is the point.
I had guessed it. He would have to pay 5,100 rupees.
The people who have been asking for the rupee to float are the people who can afford, who have the money to buy even at any price. But the large number of people in this country can't afford this floating the rupee. The people have no voice.
So doesn't
only people who are the well-off people have the voice, who are
but what we see,
and
this point was mentioned by my colleague Roshan Watawala on the Davasa program tonight. If you can watch it, rewind and watch it because it's really interesting. Now then, you know, we see queues. We see queues for petrol, gas, diesel, whatever.
Everything is in a state of chaos.
Yes, but isn't the real story the unseen story, which is that there are profiteering, that there is profiteering going along from the background, which is what we don't see. People are collecting goods, increasing the prices, and whacking the public by raising their prices.
That's a minor premise. The major premise is that the markets have been allowed to dominate. Markets have been allowed to dominate without a proper national economic plan, where we determine where the human resources go, in what amount, where the capital should go, and where the land and natural resources should go.
Look at what happened with the sugar. The government wanted it. It was a very good idea. They reduced the taxes so that the people can get a lower price of the sugar. What happened? Nothing. That was a scam.
The traders pocketed all that.
Exactly.
Yes, and the government did nothing.
Absolutely.
That's my complaint.
Right.
That's my complaint too.
So how many others have a conscience like you do?
Rice millers did the same thing.
Yes.
They decided on the price of rice.
And the water is given free to them.
And the government what is given free?
Of course. The water that is put into the paddy fields, there's no charge for that.
Not the paddy fields. I'm talking about the water that we supply.
Okay.
No water is given free to the commercial.
No. But what I'm saying is the government, the millers.
I understand what you say.
Yeah.
The millers have had their own say.
Yeah.
The government had folded up. And this is why I complain to the government. This government is a government of the millers and the traders.
Is there at least 15 people in the government side who have a conscience similar to yours?
Yes, there are.
And why are they not walking out like you?
Well, they will be. Each man decides his own time. Or each woman, for that matter, decides what time.
And to hell with the people?
Well, that should be a concern.
But they're not. Do you think the polls, if you have a polls now, election, do you think that will be different? The result will be different?
Result can be different. That depends on if it is held now. Now.
Which earlier you're saying that it won't be.
Sorry?
What you're really saying is there will be no elections now.
No elections immediately.
Vasudeva Nanayakkara, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
For your wonderful time. I much enjoy having you on the program. Thank you.
I enjoyed your questions and the questions of the public.
Thank you. And it's now time for the prime time news. Sorry about the late start. But anyway, it's now time for the prime time news. Take care and God bless you all.